Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is what trading on May the 19th, 2020. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of the main events on Monday, actually, as soon as the market opened on Sunday, we have seen a shift in the momentum in the market. We are back into risk on environment. So that means the investors are willing to take risk and stock market is pushing higher. So we have seen that happen. And a couple of reasons behind that. One would be that on Sunday, Powell did a speech, which is our Fed. Powell did a speech. Essentially, he said that he is expecting, with the economy opening up, he is expecting a recovery in the market, or he's expecting recovery in the economy and in the market, and they're willing to provide whatever support is needed in order to get things back to normal. So that was positive. And then after that, on Monday, we also got a report from one of the companies that has been doing human trials for the vaccine, saying that the first round of human trials was successful. And that means now, it doesn't mean that the vaccine will be available tomorrow, but it does mean that there is progress and market is optimistic in regards to a vaccine being developed. So if the vaccine gets developed, which means then our economy can go back to normal because people can go back to work and all of that. So last week we had talked about how there were concerns when the economy opens in regards to the increase in infections. So we have seen in China, China had gone back to work, and now we are seeing a second round of infections there, and there's about 180 million people that are back in lockdown again after reopening because the virus is spreading again. But with this positive news that we have a vaccine now, or we will have a vaccine now because the trials, the human trials are positive. So this is the first time we have heard about human trials or a success in human trial by any of the companies. So market is basically taking it as a very, very positive step, and hence we are back into that risk on environment. So in terms of what we have coming up, we do have monetary policy meeting minutes here in our Asian session tonight. With this here, anytime we have any sort of central bank here, we just have to pay attention because the market can react whichever way. Last week we saw that after Powell's speech, the market actually reacted negatively because he said they're not looking at negative interest rates at this point. But on Sunday, we saw that market reacted in a positive way. So that's why these days, when we have central banks, any communication from central banks, we just have to be careful with this one. So if Reserve Bank of Australia doesn't change anything in terms of what they said previously, then I wouldn't expect much of a reaction. But let's say if they are positive too, like Powell was, then we could see Australian dollar go up as a result. Coming up on Tuesday here, we have news from UK. At this point, there is a big change in numbers here that's expected. So claimant count here is a number of people who are unemployed who file in the unemployment application, and this is a sharp increase from 12,000 previously to 675,000. Now, if the number is not as high as the forecast here is, then we're likely to see pound go up. But the second thing that will come into play here, or two other things that will come into play here, would be average earnings index. So if the average earnings drop sharply, that will be considered negative for British pound. Or if the unemployment rate jumps up suddenly, so we are expecting an increase, but it's a reasonable increase considering what's going on. But should it come in higher than expected, in that case, market is likely to take this negatively, and we'll see British pound drop. So these days, any change in the numbers is very, very important. So any positive change is leading to a jump in prices, any negative change is leading to a drop in prices, and we are seeing that because of the volatility in the market. So we do have G7 meetings here. With the G7 meetings, it's the comments that will be important. So when the world leaders meet, there are always journalists asking for comments and such, asking them questions. So these comments can come at any time during the day. So I would just keep an eye on the news feed, because based on what they say, market can move. And then we have, again, Fed Chair Powell here testifying on a Tuesday here. So this will, again, depends on what he says. It can make a change in the market. So be aware of that. But that's pretty much it in terms of the important news. Oh, we do have building permits here. Actually, I skipped a whole bunch of stuff. So we have ZEW economic sentiment here. It's actually supposed to increase here, or they're expecting an increase because of the economies opening up, as well as the German ZEW economic sentiment. Both the German and the overall Euro zone economic sentiment are expected to increase because of the different different Eurozone economies opening up. So I would expect it to come in higher than or in line with what the expectations are, higher than the previous number. But if it's even higher, that will be positive for the euro. So let's go on to the charts here. We'll start off with euro. As we can see, euro dollar, a huge move to the upside. We had talked about how price was into support here, and it was stuck at the support for a while. But today's move here was a part of the reason for the euro move was because of ECB coming up with a package supporting the economy. So overall, this was positive for the euro, and we have seen a big jump. Now, keep in mind, price is into resistance here, but this is looking quite bullish, so biases to the upside here. One thing to keep in mind here actually would be, this is the hourly chart. We see this inefficient move here in euro. So what I'm looking at here is we may see a bit of a pullback, but what can happen with this one is if price doesn't drop below 1.09 essentially, we could see a move all the way up into the high. So this is last time, this is where we had the inefficient move. Price had dropped a bit, and then it continued on into the next target here. So we could see a similar move here, where we see a drop and then price can go higher. So watch out for that. Or we could see a slightly deeper pullback here, and then price goes up, and potentially from there we see a drop. But for now, it is looking bullish, but we do have that inefficient move. So keep that in mind, because inefficient moves do tend to get filled. But for now, momentum does seem to be to the upside here. So a bias here is bullish. Next target here is 1.0970, and then 1.10, which is the previous high here. So basically, as we can see here, price has been trading in this range here for the last little bit, and it rejected the bottom of the range. So now looking for price to go towards the high of the range. So bullish bias here for euro dollar. First target 109.70, second target 1.10 or 1.1020. Pound dollar here, we see that price had dropped and now it has pulled back up. So this one is looking bullish as well. It isn't exactly bullish engulfing, but there is room to the upside here. So bias is bullish. And in terms of the pullback, I will look at 1.2160 approximately, but target here is 1.2270 as the first target, and then the second target is 1.2350. So bullish bias for pound dollar as well. Aussie dollar, this one as well, we see that whatever move to the downside we saw has now been recovered. So whatever amount that price lost in value last time, or I should say Aussie dollar, Aussie lost in value last time, has now been recovered. And this is looking bullish as well. So the next target here is fairly close, 0.6575, and should it go through that, the second target is 0.6620. So bias here is bullish for Aussie dollar here. So this is what I'm looking at. So those are the two targets. And we could get a pullback here, potential pullback into 0.6500. So bullish bias for Aussie dollar as well. And then a New Zealand dollar here, this one as well, price is into resistance, so we have to keep that in mind. And we have a bullish engulfing candle close, so bias is to the upside. Next target here is 0.6100 and potential pullback into 0.6015. And then next target here is 0.6175. So first target 0.6100, and then second target 0.6175. So bias here is bullish for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, a big drop. So this is the opposite of what we saw for Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar here. So bias here is bearish, looking quite bearish here. In terms of our targets here, first target is 1.3900, and then second target is 1.3850. So bias here is bearish for dollar CAD. Silver here, silver is interesting. It's into resistance here. Now, today's move was interesting. We see price moved up, it came back down. So bias here is neutral. So I would look for a potential retest of the high into 17.50. And because that is a strong resistance level here, we could see it drop from there. So be mindful of that. Bias for now, just looking for a retest of the high at 17.50. So as we can see here, this entire move has been reversed for silver. So this second drop here, completely reversed. So this was an inefficient move. Now it is it's filled. So bullish bias, or I should say bullish to neutral here, looking for 17.50. Gold here, gold is interesting. We did see a move higher and then it has dropped from there. So for now, this one's looking bearish, but keep in mind price is into support. So for this one to continue lower, we do need to see a break through 1725 26 level here. So right now I would say bearish, but with caution here. The market's quite volatile, and I would expect the volatility to continue, which means this can reverse as well, because yeah, so let's just say it can reverse as well. So keep that in mind. In terms of a pullback, we could get a pullback into 1738, 39 level before a drop here. So for now, bearish bias with caution though, because if it doesn't break through this support here, it can reverse. Targets 1710 is our next target. oil here, oil looking quite bullish here. Prices into resistance. It actually closed above the previous resistance here, so that is very bullish. And in terms of our bias here, it is bullish. Now, one of the reasons oil went up so much was because of the news report saying that the oil demand in China was back to the pre-pandemic levels before the lockdown started, with the oil demand from China coming back on track, because China is a big, well, it's a big user of oil. So with China getting back on track and other economies opening up, so the view is that the rest of the demand will come in just as quickly once everything opens up again over the next few months. So for now, this one's looking bullish here. And next target here, next target is 34.25, and then above that we have 36.60. So bias is bullish here. Copper is also looking bullish, but as we can see, it's right into our resistance here. So for now, this one, it is bullish, but I would be cautious here. If price doesn't go through the resistance, we could see a reversal here. But because it is showing, everything is showing a lot of momentum right now. So this one, next target is 2.41. And then above that, we're looking at 2.44. So bullish bias here for copper for now. Bitcoin here hasn't really done a whole lot. It's been trading in this range over the last little bit here, and today's candle close is a indecision candle here. So we could see a bit of a drop here. First target would be base of today's candle, 94.20 level, and then should it continue lower, I would look at 9100. So for now, bias is neutral for Bitcoin. S&P 500, as we can see, a huge move up here in S&P 500. We are back into the resistance that price was in 2 weeks ago. So with all the positive news, well, one from Powell saying they are looking for recovery, and as well as from the human trials of the vaccine going well, we are fully back into risk on mode. And here, as we can see, price has held this recovery that it had. It wasn't able to break through the support level here, even though it looked like it may. So this is looking very, very bullish right now. So I would look for a further move to the upside. I think if we could see price getting through this, just because of the momentum that's in place right now. So if it breaks through the resistance, next target is 30.40. And should it go through that, we have 31.25. So for now, this is looking quite bullish. So bullish bias for S&P 500. Nasdaq here, this one is looking very bullish as well. We see that price is into the high, and it's trying to push higher. Even so, momentum is very much to the upside right now. So for this one here, next target is 9,500. So bullish bias for Nasdaq. And then we have Dow Jones here. This one's looking very bullish as well. And the next target here is 24,880, so bullish bias here. And above that, we are looking at 25,000, so bullish bias for this one as well. But once it crosses that, we have 25,230, but it could go all the way into 25,700. So watch out for this one, this gap getting filled. So bullish bias for Dow Jones here. And then DAX here as well, looking extremely bullish here. And next target is 11,265. And should it go through that, we have 11,450. So bullish bias for DAX as well. And FTSE also looking extremely bullish. Next target here is 6185. And then there is this 6,400 above that. So bullish bias for FTSE. And Nikkei here also looking quite bullish. It looks like it wants to move higher. Next target is 20,800 approximately, and then 21,000. And this one could, if the momentum continues here, it could go all the way into 21,450. So that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.